Hello, readers, and welcome back to Quarantine Literacy. This week we've been talking about overcoming obstacles, persevering when times get hard. And I bet a lot of you are experiencing obstacles right now. Things are not as easy as they typically are, and you're having to get creative and find ways to solve problems. And I'm really proud of you for that. We're going to read about a little girl whose obstacle was finding her voice. And she really struggled with feeling nervous and shy. And then she discovers how to make her voice heard. And I know that my own daughter struggles with this sometimes. And perhaps this is something that you have struggled with at some point in your life as well. Maybe you can make a connection to this book. It's called Willow's Whispers. And it's by Lana Button, illustrated by Tanya Howells. There she is. There's Willow. Willow's words came out in whispers. They were just too tiny to hear. She wished they could come out so loud and clear that everyone would notice. But when Willow spoke, her words slipped out as soft and shy as the secret. I'm Willow. At school, when Jane and Julian made room at their table and asked, "Want to sit here?" Willow whispered, "I'd love to." "Oh, well," said Jane. Julian shrugged. "She must like sitting alone." Willow's shoulders sank. No one heard her reply, "No, I don't." So she's trying to make her voice heard, but she's just got this soft little voice, and no one can hear her. At snack time, when Mrs. Post asked, "Would you like apple juice or orange juice?" Willow whispered, "Apple, please." "Pardon me, dear?" asked Mrs. Post. "Apple, please." Willow tried again. Mrs. Post smiled and poured her orange juice. "There you go, dear." Willow sighed. She drank it anyway, even though it made her lip crinkle. At playtime, when Willow gathered the dollhouse family for a picnic and Christabel snatched away the baby, Willow whispered, "I'm playing with her." "Excuse me?" sneered Christabel. "I'm playing with her," Willow repeated. But Christabel just skipped away. Willow said nothing. She had the picnic anyway, even though the dolls had lost their appetites. She's trying so hard to be heard, but no one's hearing her. At the end of the day, Mrs. Post said, "Those of you who have not had a turn to be line leader, please speak up." Willow whispered, "I haven't had a turn." "Anyone?" asked Mrs. Post. "I haven't." So Mrs. Post chose Christabel as line leader. Again. Willow scuffed her feet to her usual spot at the end of the line. So there they are, standing in line, and Willow hasn't been line leader yet, but she didn't make her voice heard, so the teacher didn't hear her. So she chose Christabel, who had already had a turn at line leader. Even at bedtime, when Willow's dad tucked her in and said goodnight, Willow whispered, "Good night." But Dad was an expert at hearing Willow's whispers. He never said, "What?" or "Pardon?" or "Who?" He just wrapped Willow tight in a big bear hug and whispered right back, "Your big, strong voice got stuck way inside you. That happens sometimes, Willow. But one day, your voice will wiggle its way out." That's some good advice from her dad, huh? He says, "That's okay. Your voice isn't ready to come out yet." She's trying, right? She's persevering. People ask, "What?" And she repeats herself and she keeps trying to overcome this obstacle. but she hasn't yet. Do you think she will? Let's read and find out. I wish. Doll, apple juice, unstuck, loud, big, Julian, lucky star, leader, happy, line leader, surprise, magic picnic. Willow lay awake that night searching for a way to make louder words. She wished and thought and planned till she fell asleep. The next morning, Willow jumped out of bed and headed for the recycling bin. She rooted and rummaged until she found just the thing. Then she gathered markers and glitter and glue and rushed to her room. When Willow finally came out, she was holding a magic microphone. You guys, she came up with a solution. She persevered. She was like, I am not sitting around here just like getting passed up as line leader again, getting the wrong kind of juice. I'm finding a way to overcome this obstacle, and I'm going to make myself a magic microphone. Let's see what happens. That day at school, Willow pressed the magic microphone to her lips and told Jane and Julian, I'd love to sit with you. Great, said Jane as she and Julian scooted over. You can share our crayons. Willow could hardly believe her ears. It's working. At snack time, when Mrs. Post asked, would you like apple juice or orange juice? Willow said, apple, please. There you go, dear, Mrs. Post said. Willow drank her juice in one gulp. Her lip didn't crinkle a bit. At playtime, when Christabel tried to snatch away the dollhouse baby, Willow trumpeted, I'm playing with her! Not only did Christabel hear Willow, the whole class heard her. Everyone's like, whoa, that's a big voice. You guys, is this working? Seems to be working. It was a perfect day for a picnic. The dolls had 2 helpings of everything. But at the end of the day, when Mrs. Post said, those of you who have not had a turn to be line leader, please speak up, the microphone slipped from Willow's hand. First there was a thunk and then a horrible crunch. Willow picked up the crumpled cardboard tube and tried. I haven't had a turn. Anyone? Asked Mrs. Post. Oh no, you guys. So she had this magic microphone and it was working so well, and she was like, I got this. I can do this now. My voice is being heard. And then the magic microphone slipped and fell and got crumpled and it doesn't work. And I'm making a connection. I'm making a connection to a movie, not to a book or to myself. We can make connections to anything we want. Have you seen Dumbo? This reminds me of Dumbo. When Dumbo thinks he can't fly and then he gets the magic flying feather, remember? And then the feather, he drops the feather and he's like, I can't fly, I can't fly. And all of his friends are like, you never needed the feather. You never needed it in the first place. You can fly. You don't need that feather. And then he flies. So I'm wondering if this is going to be the same story, if this is going to happen to Willow as well. She lost her magic microphone. It doesn't work anymore. But does she really need it, you guys? I mean, it was a nice thing to help her to find her voice, but does she really need it to be heard? Let's find out. Something was stirring way inside Willow. It twisted, it turned, it wiggled its way out. She put down the crumpled tube, took a brave breath, and with her own big, strong voice said, Me! It's my turn! Good for you, Willow. You go, girl. And everyone, even Christabel, cheered as Willow, the line leader, led the class out the door. Wow. So we've been talking about overcoming obstacles. And in this case, the obstacle is really shyness, right? Willow's very shy and her voice isn't really heard. And at first, she finds this kind of crutch, this thing that helps her to feel like she's able to have her voice be louder. This magic microphone, right? This like tube. And she's like, "Da, da, da." But did she really need the magic microphone? Like Dumbo, did she truly have the ability in her heart, in her person? She did. So, I know yesterday I asked you to think about a time when you overcame an obstacle, and I hope that you did that. Today, I'm wondering if you want to think about a time when you helped somebody overcome an obstacle. Maybe when you were a great friend or a great helper, and you were a big piece of them being able to overcome an obstacle or to persevere through something tricky. So just think about that as you go through your day today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.